for more insights, we are joined by Jay Harriman. He is a senior director at BowerGroupAsia. First off, Jay, what's at stake in Thailand's elections and who has the advantage at this stage?
Hey, good morning, and thanks for having me back on the program. I think we can frame this election as a competition between two major blocs. On the one side, we have the conservative bloc comprised of the current government parties like Palang Pracharat, the Democrats, Phumjai Thai, and Prime Minister Prayut's new Luamjai Sangchat party. This bloc also importantly includes the 250-member appointed Senate, which, as you mentioned, will vote directly for the Prime Minister, along with the 500 members of the House of Representatives. And then on the other side, we have the liberal progressive bloc represented by opposition parties like Phua Thai and Move Forward. Phua Thai is led by Patong Tan Chinawat, the daughter of former Prime Minister Thaksin. And Move Forward, also, as you mentioned, is led by Pita Limjaroenrat, who's a party co-founder and also has education from the United States, where he studied at Harvard and MIT. As for Prime Minister Prayut's chances of winning the election, they are, I would say, increasingly coming into question as the latest polls seem to indicate that there's going to be a strong showing from Phua Thai as well as Move Forward. So it will be Prayut's election to lose, given that he selected the Senate and has, many of the advantages of incumbency.
Has his hand been weakened by the fact that he only has 2 years possibly to serve if he were to win, and also the fact that he's sort of broken away and gone with the new party?
I don't know how significant that particular point is in terms of his electability. I think the people that support him will continue to support him. It's probably not something that helps his cause. I think what will impact his party and chances in the election is the fact that there will now be some vote splitting that will occur within the conservative bloc. So where in the last election it was mainly voters going towards Palang Pracharat, now there could be a split in the vote between Palang Pracharat, Phumjai Thai, and Prayut's Luamjai Sangchat. So in many of the districts where the margin was quite tight, this could turn the outcome in those districts and have a substantial impact on the results.
And Jay, some reports say Prayut and the longtime military and the monarchy establishment have already tried to undermine the opposition. What are the prospects for a free and fair election?
Good question. Thus far, the campaign has been largely free of violence, and it looks like on polling day that there won't be any further incidences of violence or attempts to undermine the election. I think what we have to look at, as in previous election, is if there's going to be some type of effort to undermine the government, that will come in the period after the election. Either it will come from the election commission that may issue yellow and red cards for candidates, and then the courts that may eject or dissolve political parties, which could then impact the vote totals and whether the opposition can maintain its majority in the House of Representatives.
And Jay, given there are so many parties and there are so many sort of fractures on both the military and the opposition camps, do you see sort of post-election coalition building as being where the power will be won and lost?
Most certainly, I think, as in past election, that this election, will be a coalition government. And while Phua Thai is calling for a landslide, I think that it's going to be a makeup of several different parties. And perhaps I can just lay out three scenarios of what that might look like. One, we could have Phua Thai wins the most seats, but it can't gain a 251-seat majority. And then the current government parties reconstitute to form the new government with either Prayut, or Anutin becoming prime minister. A second scenario would have Phua Thai winning the most seats and forming a government with middle and small-sized parties like Move Forward or even Palang Pracharat. Phua Thai still, however, will need 376 seats to secure the premiership, which means they will have to engage in horse trading to win enough votes from the Senate. it remains a big question as to whether they can pull this off. Which would give me also a wild card scenario whereby Puatai and move forward secure a majority in the House, but they cannot win over enough seats from the Senate, and a deadlock ensues.
Jay, we've seen election results sort of routinely crossed out by coups and courts in the past in Thailand. How might the military respond if the opposition wins a sizable victory?
Again, another good question. I think initially, the military wouldn't take an immediate action. It would wait and see. How does the new government form? What are its initial policies? What steps does it take? However, I think that there could be a response from the military, an increased risk of political instability if the conservative bloc loses, and it begins to feel that the new government is moving too aggressively on existential issues such as reforms to the military and the monarchy. I think in such a situation, the military could launch a counteroffensive to unseat the government by using the courts and state agencies to dissolve political parties, or even launch a military coup. But I don't think anything will happen, right after the election. It will be, later on down the road after the government forms and it starts to announce its policies and take actions.
And just quickly, what will you be looking out for that will inform us of what direction this election will be headed?
I think what we'll be looking out for is the immediate, results of the election, which should come out probably within the day or the first 2 days. We'll see whether Puatai is going to get the landslide that it expects. How well we'll move forward, perform. And also, as I mentioned earlier about the splitting of the vote within the conservative bloc, to see whether that will impact a lot of the closely contested electoral districts. And then after that, we'll start to take a look and see the coalition building and which parties, may be able to secure a majority.
Plenty to watch out for, Jay. Thank you very much for your insight this morning. Jay Harriman, Senior Director of BowerGroupAsia.